Hi guys, so my name's Shannon. This is my first video that I'm going to be posting on my blog. So I just wanted to introduce myself and give a rundown of what this vlog will involve. So it's basically going to be linked around my law school experience, but I also want to bring y'all on a personal journey with me, just because I want to get to know myself better, and I think this will be a good way to do it. So I guess I'll just delve right in. So I've always wanted to be a lawyer ever since I was a child. You know, when you'd go around the room and people would ask what you want to be when you grow up, I'd always say a lawyer. And so I lacked some confidence along the way. After I graduated high school, I went to a community college, and then I transferred out to a university to get my bachelor's degree. I've always known that I wanted to do criminal law. So I ended up I majored in criminology and I minored in political science. So after that, I knew I wanted to apply to law school, but I didn't have enough confidence to do it. Also, law school is a huge commitment and it cost a lot of money. So I wanted to get real-time experience so I would really know if this is something that I wanted to do. So basically, my plan after my undergrad was to get a job with my degree in a legal field so that I could feel out the job and see if it's something that I really wanted to commit to. So throughout obtaining my bachelor's degree, I worked in restaurants and bars, just because right after high school, I moved out of my parents' house, and I always wanted to just live on my own. So I always worked and went to school. So after I graduated in 2019, my goal for the year 2020 was to get a job with my degree and branch away from the service industry. So then COVID hit in 2020, which put a small bump in the road for me, but I didn't let it deter me. I ended up losing my I ended up losing my job at the restaurant due to COVID, which honestly was a blessing in disguise, because I was really able to take time for myself and figure out and create a game plan of how I was going to get into a law firm with my degree. So basically, I applied anywhere and everywhere that, at this point, I was so desperate. I was like, even if it's not in a law firm, as long as it's outside of restaurants and bars, I will do it. And I got told no, like just no and no and no and no and no and no and no again. And I will say that was very hard to keep motivation, and it really made me self-doubt a lot. And I really thought I was just going to be stuck in a rut forever. And the reason why I was getting no's was the simple fact that I had no work experience in those fields. I only had a server/bartender background. So that was the reason I kept getting told no. I needed real work experience. So I didn't stop. I kept applying. And then one of my girlfriends, guys, sorry, it's like about to rain and I love rain. So I just wanted to sit outside and film this. Also, I do plan to invest in a camera eventually. But right now I just wanted to get something up for content, and then we will go from there. So anywho, one of my girlfriends that I used to work with at one of the restaurants, ended up getting into a paralegal program. She went through a college to get a certification that took 9 months. And through that certification, she was able to land a job at a law firm. And I was like, that sounds great. Also, just a quick little tidbit. I did try court reporting in between 2019 and 2020. And it just wasn't for me. It was also a certification. And I think after a year, you sit and try to pass a state certification test, and then you become a certified stenographer, which also super support that job There's not enough court reporters out there, stenographers in the least bit. So if you are interested in that, I would highly suggest it. It just wasn't for me. You can get paid very well. They're very short-handed, and it's a very universal and specified, maybe that's an oxymoron. It's a very specified skill, but you can do it on a universal platform, meaning you can do closed captioning, or you can do court reporting, etc., etc. So anyways, that didn't work out for me. So I've had my trial and errors with trying to get a job after college. So finally, I wanted to check out the paralegal certification program that my friend was in, which I ended up getting into. And then I started working back at restaurants after COVID had passed. And while I was back in the restaurants, I continued with my paralegal certification program, finally finished that in 9 months. And I want to say at the 7th or 8th month mark, I ended up getting a job in a law firm, answering phones. Was so grateful. I didn't care what the pay was. I took it. I jumped on it. I took it. Basically, I ended up answering phones in the call center. From there, I ended up finishing my paralegal certification program, so they decided to move me into a case management position. This is personal injury, just to give you some background. And then after I was a case manager for a few months, I really started getting the hang of it, so I was afforded the opportunity to train as a paralegal. And I've been a paralegal with my law firm for about a year now. The whole longevity of my career there has been about 3 years. So once I delved into that, I really knew, as I kind of worked my way up the ladder there in a short period of time, I was like, I definitely want to go to law school. I want my own office. I want to help people. I want to give back to my community. And at this point, I know this is what I really, really, really want to do. So then I met some friends through the law firm that I was working at, and once I got into the law firm, at this point it was like, can I go to law school? Can I do this? Do I have the commitment, the mind? Do I have what it takes to really commit myself and fulfill this dream? So I'm a firm believer in your environment really supporting who you want to be and what you want to accomplish. So being that I was at the law firm, of course the lawyers there went through law school, they took the Lsat, they all passed the bar. So I was around people that had done this. So long story short, I ended up meeting a friend through the firm, and she was like, we do Lsat studies once a week, you should join our group. Join her Lsat group. So now I had a community that supported me and wanted me to succeed, and I also had a study group. So that's how I really ended up starting to get myself prepared to take the Lsat. If you don't know, to get into law school, that is the entry exam. Law school admissions test is the full title. It's broken down into an acronym, which is the Lsat. And you take that, and basically you can apply to any school in the US. So it is a very vigorous test. It's not like anything I've ever done, and I can tell you from experience that it's just its own animal, and you can ask anyone. And so basically everyone's different, and everyone takes their prep different, and you know, the longevity of it is totally up to you and when you feel ready. For me, I gave myself a 12-month timeline. I said I'm going to start studying now, and this time next year I want to sit for the Lsat. I want to say, so I started studying in October of 21, and I ended up sitting for my Lsat August of 22. Yes. So I was August. Yeah, so I gave myself about 9 to 10 months to feel confident enough. And that was just me and my self journey. You can take the Lsat as many times as you want. I've heard different things about schools looking at that. Like, some schools will know how many times you've taken it. Some schools judge you based off that. But these are all things I've heard. I'm not sure how true it is. I think every school, every state, every city is different. But for me personally, the test is expensive. I think it's like $250 or $300 at test. So for me, and also they have plenty of LSAT prep courses out there, study groups. For me personally, what worked best for me, I ordered a bunch of LSAT prep books online, and I'll show you what I got that helped me. But I ended up not doing any LSAT prep courses because I'm poor and I wanted to try to save money. So I was like, I'm gonna try doing this on my own, and if I really feel that I need a prep course, I will pay for one. But I at least wanted to take a jab at sitting for the test without the cost of a actual program. So basically YouTube was my best friend, which is what gave me motivation and inspiration to create my own channel. Basically I would day in and day out watch people that have prepped for the LSAT, taken the LSAT, or lawyers that have gone through law school, taken the bar. And it just gave me a lot of motivation, and it also really let me know that I could do this if I really wanted to. And so thank you to the YouTubers out there. Now I'm kind of starting to create my own channel, and hopefully I can help others that are thinking about going to law school, in law school, done with law school, whatever it may be. I think we can all relate. So yeah, I got self prep books on Amazon. I watched a lot of YouTube. Any free trial or free subscription to LSAT preps that I could find online, I became a member of. I think I had like 3 memberships by the time I sat for the LSAT. The first was Khan Academy. Highly recommend it. You can do it for free. They give you a lot of access. If you pay money, you have even more access to materials. For me, I was fine with the free trial. There's LSAT Demon, which I was also a member of, the free membership. Like I said, if you join and pay money, your access and resources become more available. But like I said, I was just trying to do the cheapest thing possible, and it worked for me personally. But also, like, you have to have your expectations. The LSAT works on a scale. I want to say the lowest score is a 120 and the highest score is a 180. So depending on what school you want to go to, the first thing you need to do is look at their stats, because you obviously need to align with their stats to get into that school. Some schools, their medians are 156s, some schools medians 170, some schools medians 175. So of course you want to do your best, but you also want to make sure that you're aligning with your school stats. So before I even started LSAT prepping, I researched all the schools that I wanted to go to, and I downloaded all of their stats. And basically how you can find that is a form called an ABA form. ABA, I don't know the exact term. It's on the tip of my brain, but in my next video I will post about it. And basically it's an ABA report, and every school each year is mandatory to report and provide to the community. And on there it has all the school stats, what their LSAT median was the year before, what their acceptance rate is, their bar passage rate, demographics of race, ethnicity, all of that is on the ABA 509 report. That's what it is. ABA 509. So basically any law school in the whole country, all you do, go to Google, type in the school name, put in ABA 509 report, and there should be a link to their report. Then you can have all of your broken down statistics for those schools that you want to apply to. I think I was looking at 6 to 8 schools. Some people I've heard have applied to like 30. Some people have applied to 2. Some people have applied to 1. It really depends, and I will just be upfront about it. Applying to law school is not cheap. Every application costs. Every test costs. You have to send your transcripts out. You have to create an LSAC account, which also is like $200. And you have to apply through the LSAC platform to apply to law schools, because all the ABA accredited schools in the US are a part of LSAC, and you have to be a member of LSAC to just apply to schools, which is another cost. So that's what I would suggest you do first. That's what I did. And basically, I just printed out every ABA 509 report of the schools I was interested in. I created a binder. I kept those ABA reports in there. And when I would go to write down notes or study, all those ABA reports were there. So not only was it a motivational factor for me, but it also just kind of kept me on track, and it kept me aligned with my goals throughout my LSAT practices. So I'm not going to tell y'all what I got on my LSAT. But I did really surprise myself, and I did only sit once for it. Like I said, you can sit as many times as you want for it, but I personally did not want to take it again. So that's why I was really methodical, and I just gave myself time to really master the test, if you will. And once I was scoring in the range that I wanted to score in consistently, I was like, it's time. And you just really can't get frustrated with yourself. I mean, at the 3 and 6 month point, I was kind of like getting like antsy about it. Like, is this ever going to happen for me? But at the end of the day, what I told myself is take the time you need. When you feel confident about it, sit for it. If it doesn't work out, put yourself in a program, try again. So for me, it was never an option to quit. It was just really being graceful with myself about how long I wanted to take before actually sitting for it. And it turned out well for me. Like I said, I sat for the first time. And also I sat in August of 22. And COVID was still a pretty big thing then. So I actually took my LSAT online with a online proctor. So my experience is probably pretty different from the traditional. Excuse me. I don't know what it's like to go into a room and take an LSAT because I did it from home. I don't know what I would have preferred, honestly, but it worked out for me. So I ended up, you take your LSAT, and then I think you have to wait like 2 to 3 weeks to get your score, which is just excruciating. Like, that's all you can think about after you take the test, you know? So your score becomes available through LSAT. Once you see your score, I think you have like 3 to 7 days to make your score publicly viewable for schools you're applying to. So you do have that option. I purchased something on top of the LSAT itself, which gave me the opportunity. They offer it for first-time test takers. So basically, you have the option to take the test and for your score to be hidden, like you never took it. So I purchased that. I want to say it was like 50 or 70 bucks on top of the actual LSAT, but I purchased it because I was like, if I bomb this thing, like I do not want that score out. So that gave me even more confidence, that little cushion. So I purchased it just for my mental health, and I feel like it gave me more confidence. Not a lot of people do it. I did it. I think it's something that everyone should utilize if they can. So yeah, basically once I got my score, I had the option to have schools view it or deny schools from seeing it. And I saw my score and I was like, okay, this is a good score. I'm going to make it available. So I did that. And then at that point, the application process began. Outside of the LSAT, you just have to do a lot. And it can be very overwhelming, but if you really just plan out and know your goal, you can get it done. You have to have letters of recommendation. I want to say has to be 2 or 3. For me, I hadn't been in school in 2 or 3 years, so I didn't really have any relationships with my professors to give me an academic letter. But I did obviously work in a law firm, so I was able to get 2 attorneys there to write me a really nice letter, which I'm very fortunate for. So you want to start planning that, because the letter, you want to be really personable, and you really want the person that's writing your letter to not only like know you from a distance, but really know you, because that's what the admissions councils look at. Like, is this person just BSing us, or do they really know the ins and outs of this person, not only as a professional or academic student, but as a individual? Are they a good person? So you want to start that pretty early. Of course, you have to do your LSAT, and then there is a writing portion of the LSAT, but I think it's like a paragraph. Basically, they give you like a scenario, and you write whether you'd be for or against it and why. That I didn't put too much thought into, but I did get it done. You have the option to do it before or after your LSAT. I did mine before, and then you also have to do a personal statement. I think the personal statement has to be 3 pages, but certain schools vary. Like some schools only want a page, some schools want 2 to 3 pages, some schools only want 2 pages. Mine was 3 pages. And honestly, I think I struggled a lot with the personal statement because that's kind of your free ball game to throw out any topic and just talk about yourself. So I'm trying to think what mine was. Man, what was mine? I literally didn't do it that long ago and I can't even remember. I know I had like a few ideas that I was bouncing off of. Like me personally, why I became passionate about law was during the whole Rodney King incident. So I wanted to write that as a topic, but then I also wrote about some communal service that I had did. So I think I wrote 3 or 4 personal statements that had different prompts, and I kind of narrowed it down to what sounded best by me narrating. So I ended up going with, I want to say I ended up going with the Rodney King story because, I mean, at the end of the day, that was most authentic and it sounded the best. So I went that route. And then, so your LSAT, personal statement, letters of recommendation, you have to send in transcripts to every school you apply to. There's an application fee for a lot of schools. Some schools will waive the fee depending. Yeah, so transcripts, you also have to submit a resume. I just worked off one that I had when applying for the law firm, so I didn't have too much work to do, but I did refine that, sent that in. What else do you have to do? LSAT, personal statement, writing portion of the LSAT, letters of rec, resume, transcripts. I think that's it. But once you actually get your LSAC account, they give you a breakdown of everything that you're gonna need, will need, etc., etc. I'm also really glad that I have law firm experience going into law school because from what I've heard, it's gonna be very beneficial to me. One thing I do regret is not applying sooner because I'm almost 30 now and I wish I could have done this in my early 20s, but the experience will pay off. And at the end of the day, it's just something that, like, that's just the way my life took me, you know. I decided to wait on it and get the job experience first, which then led me back to my original goal, and I ended up pursuing that. So everyone's just on their own journey and timeline, so I've never really been too hard on myself about that. So just give yourself grace, and if it's something you really know you want to do, then start applying in your undergrad. Like, do it, you know. Like I said, everyone's just different. If you want to get the legal experience first, do that. It's going to be beneficial to you if you do have the work experience. So basically, apparently that, well, this is my parents' dog, but anyways. So basically, I applied, I got accepted this December, so August, September, October, November, December. So it took about 3 to 4 months to get my answer. I applied to 4 schools. I was originally going to apply to 6, but then once I started getting some answers, I was like, I'm not going to waste any more money. I'm just going to commit to this school. So I got 3 acceptances and 1 wait list. And the school I decided on was just economically most convenient for me. So that is why I went that route. So I got my offer in December. I start this August. Right now it is June. So I can't believe 6 months has gone by since I've been accepted. And now it's just getting closer. So I really just want to enjoy my summer and start school in August. But basically I just wanted to give y'all some background about how I got into this. And like I said, throughout my law school application process, I lived and died by YouTube. Like, it was my holy grail. So I just wanted to be a voice for other people that are going through the same thing I went through. And I also feel like there wasn't as many people doing videos like these about law school. I mean, I found great vloggers that I still follow today, that I love their content, and they do focus on their legal careers, but there wasn't as many as I thought there'd be. So I just kind of wanted to voice that you're not alone, and I'm excited to start this journey with y'all. So I'll be posting, this will be my first video, and then from here it'll kind of be me getting ready for law school, and I'll just bring y'all along with me. So I'm excited to see where this will go. If you have any questions or suggestions of topics that you would like me to touch on, feel free to comment below. Subscribe. This is my first video, so I'm excited to see what'll happen. Thanks, and bye guys.